What's up, challengers? Today I want to go through my 11 rules to succeed throughout this challenge. Rule number 1, I want you to eat 4 to 6 meals a day.
What you talking about, Willis?
The reason being is if we're having these consistent meals, we prevent ourselves from binging.
Damn, little lady.
This also will help regulate your blood sugar, okay? Which if your blood sugar is regulated, there's gonna be less insulin within your system. If insulin is rushing through your system, what happens is it stores a lot of that glucose, a lot of that energy stores into fat cells. Rule number 2, we want to have our carbohydrates earlier in the day. Okay guys, so about 4 p.m. or so, this is when we start to really reduce our carb intake, okay? The reason why is we basically have to we need to burn our carbs.
Help!
If you find yourself carving up before bed, what's going to happen is those energy stores are basically stored as fat overnight. Okay, so you got to make sure we're using those carbohydrates, those energy stores, that glucose, as actual energy. One thing I want you guys to be really careful of as well is careful when we mix carbohydrates with fats. Okay, what carbohydrates do, guys, is basically they spike insulin. Insulin is a storage hormone. So if you're having a lot of carbohydrates and basically you spike your insulin, what happens is that insulin tries to put those carbohydrates within muscle stores, ideally, or liver stores, or if those are full, they go into fat stores. So one thing we have to be careful with is if we have fat and carbohydrates come into the system together, it's very easy for the body to go and store that glucose, obviously those carbohydrates, as well as the fat at the same time. Okay, so what I want you to really focus on doing is having your carbohydrates with your protein early in the day.
Good morning!
And then having your fats with your protein later at night.
Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Doing this, guys, your body's gonna be so much more beneficial, especially for myself as well. This is the difference for me being 12 to 6%. This little change here made a world of difference. I wanna talk about, if you guys aren't counting calories, I would highly suggest counting portions, okay? So what's a portion? A portion is basically the size of the palm of my hand, okay? So for number 2, we're aware that we need to have a protein and a carbohydrate source, okay? So an example of this is a piece of chicken breast, okay, with a sweet potato, or a turkey breast with a handful of rice, a piece of fruit, carbohydrate with a bit of Greek yogurt. Number 4, guys, no sugar. For obvious reasons, guys, sugar will spike your blood sugar, which will then result in a lot of insulin within your system, which will then assist in fat storage, okay? So if you're serious about weight loss, guys, you wanna have 0 sugar. We'll get that down to as low as possible. Number 5, guys, this is a big one following up from the no sugar. It's no artificial sweeteners. Basically, guys, if you have artificial sweeteners within your diet, within your food, your body has a lot of issue telling the difference between sugar and those artificial sweeteners, guys. It has a very similar insulin spike and in result has a very similar body fat gain. It still is not good for your body. Number 6, guys, good carbs versus bad carbs. High GI and low GI carbohydrates, okay? On one side of the board, you've got these high GI carbs, okay? These here, guys, they will spike your blood sugar, okay? So high GI means high spike of the blood sugar, okay? The reason why this is a big problem with obviously weight loss is if we have this spike in blood sugar, we have a spike of insulin. Insulin's main role, guys, is it's a storage hormone, which means its main function is to basically store carbohydrates, glucose, into muscle stores, liver stores, but if they're full, fat stores, okay? So then we have the other side of the board, the low GI carbohydrates, okay? These carbohydrates here, low GI, is slow releasing carbohydrates, okay? It doesn't spike the blood sugar very much at all. These are usually foods that are high in fiber and basically whole grains, okay? So these foods here definitely want to gravitate towards if you want to regulate that blood sugar and have consistent energy throughout the day. Definitely a great way as well to lose body fat. If you don't have that insulin spike within your system, it's a lot easier for your body to then metabolize fats. So what are high GI carbs, or as we call it in the challenge, unauthorized carbohydrates? Bread, pasta, donuts, pastry, fries, burgers, cookies, soda, granola, potato crisps, juice, cakes, milk, So these foods, guys, are high saturated fats, high calories, high carbohydrates, high sugars, and low nutrients. This is the reason why we have an epidemic of obesity as well as diabetes. So these foods we really want to limit within our diet, and I know a lot of you guys already know that. So what are low GI carbs, or as we call them in the challenge, authorized carbohydrates? Brown rice, that's quinoa, that's vegetables, that's sweet potato especially, that's oats. Okay, so these carbs here, guys, best carbs to have. If we are going to have a high GI carb with our challenge, guys, like if we want to have white rice, pasta, or bread, just want to have whole grain, but we have these carbohydrates a very smart time post-workout, so post-workout with weight training. The reason why, guys, is after weight training, our muscle fibers become depleted. Okay, so you want to replenish them by then carbing up. Okay, so the fastest way to do this is a high GI based carb. So if you're going to have a reward meal as well, it'd be very smart to have it at this time. I'm not saying to go and smash a donut and pizza after weight training, but it is the best time to have a sensible high GI carb. Number 8, guys, you've been doing so well throughout the week. Please treat yourself.
What you talking about, Dad?
Okay, so I highly suggest having a reward meal. One night in the week or something, or one lunch in the week, where you go out and you go to a restaurant and you treat yourself. Okay, guys? This here is basically a reward system, so if you've been doing really well, you deserve to go out and have something else. Ideally, guys, what you want to do with those reward meals as well is prior to having one, you want to actually go and train with weight. So deplete your glycogen stores and then hit up a restaurant, so your muscle fibers will then have to replenish with that food rather than the fat cells. Number 9, so with this here, guys, I want at least 3 meals out of your 4 to 6 meals to contain vegetables. Okay, so the reason why is we want vegetables to, 1, build muscle, maintain a healthy immune system, and overall just feel better. Okay, if you're after energy, which I know a lot of you guys are, you're gonna feel so much better if you have a consistent amount of vegetables within your diet. Okay, energy and everything. Number 10, guys, don't fear, protein is here. I'd highly recommend getting a protein powder. Okay, it does help a lot. It makes your late night meal with Greek yogurt or your obviously your oatmeal taste a hell of a lot better. If we enjoy having these meals, guys, it's a no-brainer. Okay, it's so easy to actually follow the diet after. But as well, it's going to help increase your protein intake, which will help you build and then restore muscle fibers. This is a big one I find really quite funny. I had a lot of clients in the past that will quite happily drink a lot of alcohol, have like a bag of lollies, but then when it comes to protein, they're like, no, it's not good for you, it's unnatural. Obviously, guys, you have to be careful with any processed product that we come across. There is quite a few protein powders that do have a lot of artificial sweeteners in that as well, so be careful with those ones, but you can find a good powder that will help you big time in your results. If you want some help with that, just ask me or Crystal and we'll go through some options for you. Tip number 11, guys, these are all you can eat foods. These foods, guys, have low carbohydrates, low fats, low calories, and a lot of vital nutrients. Okay, so please take advantage of as much of these foods as you want. And if you do feel hungry, these are your go-to foods. Here is a list of our authorized protein. We have chicken breast, baked, grilled, boiled, as long as it has no skin. We have fish, salmon, trout, cod, tuna, you name it. Whatever fish you can find, as long as it's not deep fried or covered in sauces. Another great source of protein, guys, is cottage cheese. It actually has what's called a casein protein. This is basically a slow releasing protein, okay? A lot of bodybuilders and that will have this sort of protein before they go to bed, just so they've got protein stores throughout the night. The clear one, guys, egg whites, which you can get in a carton and that as well, and you can basically add it to your oats or whatever food you're having. Very easy way to bump up that protein. We also have lean cuts of pork, beef, kangaroo, and turkey. If you're unsure what a lean cut is, guys, I'm gonna post below. A lot of my female clients always ask, guys, as well, how do I get my protein intake up without having to obviously consume a lot of animals? So stay tuned tomorrow, guys, as Chris is going to go through some of the best protein sources if you don't want to consume an animal.